question to you. So, do you ever ask yourself, what is this friendship bringing to me? Do you ever ask yourself, does this friendship what value does it bring to your life? Like, really ask yourself, like, sit down and ask yourself, like, what is this friend bringing into my life that I already don't have, that I already don't give myself? And for example, that you might already give yourself so much love, self-love, compassion, but with this friendship, they bring in something like a different dynamic, and you two together are able to laugh about things and have a good time. And that's obviously a good dynamic, but if this friendship is just more draining and they're not adding any value into your life that you already have, then ask yourself, so why, do our values even align? Are we going towards the same direction in life, our goals? If you're friends with someone who always complains about their situation, their job, about their family, about their career, they're always just complaining all the time, and you're here trying to grind and hustle and do things better for you, but you're always around someone who's complaining about them and having a pity party and a victim mindset, what value is that bringing into your life? Because that's generally not someone you want to be around with. And when it comes to people who have a victim mindset, they usually don't want to be saved. They want to be in that victim mindset because misery loves company, and it should not be your job to try to save someone. And yes, it's okay to be there for a friend and hold them whenever they're crying or going through stuff, or being able to be there for them whenever they went through things, but you cannot do things for them. It's up to them to take action to better themselves, and it's important for you to be able to call them out on their BS and want to check them in order for them to grow. And usually when that happens, they're able to really sit back and be like, you know what, you were right, you're right, I have victim mindset, I do have control over my life, rather than being like, well, you just don't understand what I'm going through and all these things. And when it comes to someone who has a victim mindset, they don't want to be saved. And yeah, that was maybe a little rant when it comes to people who have a victim mindset, but yeah. Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about friendship and red flags to look for in friendships. The first red flag would be if you notice that in your friendships they try to one-up you or see things as a competition. And honestly, I've had friends that have done that in the past, and I realized that I genuinely don't want to be friends with those people like that. I don't want to have people around me that are like that and have that mindset when it comes to friends, because in my head, in my world, when it comes to friendships, we are all fucking winning. It is not a fucking competition to see who is the best at this, who's best at that. And I've noticed that in the past, I've had friends that say I find an interest in a certain hobby, running, and then out of nowhere they find that interesting, and then I talk about things, my accomplishments with this, and then they try to one-up me, and I generally don't like that. There's a difference between a friend that challenges you and a friend who sees you as competition, a big difference. And you obviously do want to have friends who challenge you to be better, but not to compete against you. Red flag is if you feel drained after hanging out with your friend. If you feel drained after hanging out with someone and you feel like you have to fill your cup up, take a look at your friendship and really evaluate and see how the dynamic is, because real friends actually don't drain you. They should actually be able to fill your cup in ways, and it should be fulfilling. A good friendship should be fulfilling in so many different ways, and you shouldn't ever feel drained. And usually signs of you feeling drained is if you just feel kind of emotionally drained or tired or exhausted, or feel like you have to pretend to be someone you're not in order to accommodate to this friendship, and actual friends really accept you for who you are. If your friends talk smack about other people in front of you, so if you always find yourself in a friendship that is 90% of the time, or maybe 100% of the time, they're talking smack about other people, they're talking about other people's business, what they're doing, what they're up to, you obviously don't want to be around that type of atmosphere, because I've always thought that if they're so easy to talk about other people and talk badly about other people, then who's to say they're not talking about you behind your back? So that's something to always look at. They're obviously not really happy with themselves if they have the time and energy to talk about other people's business. If your friends get irritated when you say no, and yeah, so if they get mad at you whenever you can't do something or go out with them or do certain things for them or like favors, and they can't take your no. There's a difference between really not being able to like be there for them, but like if they are always constantly like getting irritated whenever you say no, like I have to like stay in because I have to study for my exam, or I have to stay in because I'm generally just so tired from the week and I've been drained, and you have to over explain yourself, then those aren't really like good friends, because an actual good friend would understand where you're coming from and would be like, oh, like that's totally fine, I understand, we all go through things like that. Matter of fact, maybe we could do something else instead of going out and partying, or maybe next week we could plan something out, instead of them being upset with you because you genuinely said no and chose yourself and chose to do what's good for you, because an actual good friend will support what you do for you and what's good for you. If you saying no is an inconvenience for them, ask yourself, maybe this friendship is not for me. If another red flag is if you can't be honest / communicate with them, and if you always find them lying about things, then that's definitely a red flag, because why would they be lying about things? Like I do not like when people lie at all. Like my first ever friendship, it genuinely was full of lies and gas. I was gaslighted so much. But yeah, so if you genuinely can't feel that you could be honest with this friend, then maybe question yourself, like, yeah, I don't think this friendship is for me, because in actual good friendship, there's honesty and great communication in there, and you obviously want to grow with them and be able to communicate about your needs, communicate about certain situations. It's normal to get into arguments with your friends, but it's also very important to be able to communicate about how it went down, how you didn't like when your friend did this behavior or said their tone or their things that they did. Call them out, and that's where good communication comes in. And you also have to be honest with yourself and with them as well in order to have a good, healthy friendship. And yeah, if there's lying involved and you find out they're just flat out lying to you all the time, then I just would not recommend staying in that friendship. If they only talk to you when it's convenient for them, and this also goes in with favors, if they only talk to you whenever like they need favors, or whenever like if you find out that you weren't even their first choice all the time consistently, because maybe sometimes like people do have plans with some other people and it doesn't work out, and they're like, maybe this friend might like going to that, and that's completely fine. But say if like they only talk to you when it's really convenient, like you don't want to be always someone's second